Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com and I'm here with the HTC Freestyle from AT&T. It's one of their new feature phones and it's made by HTC obviously, and it features HTC's Sense user interface. So it looks very similar to HTC's Android smartphones, but it's not a smartphone, it's just a feature phone running the Brew mobile platform. So kind of interesting. So I'm gonna do an unboxing and take just a quick tour of it, get some first impressions, and then I'll test it out and put it through its paces and come back with a full review in a couple of days. Before we get on to the unboxing, I have to say special thanks to our friends at Best Buy Mobile. One of the great things about Best Buy Mobile is that they sell phones from every major US carrier, including some prepaid carriers. So if you're in the market, your contract is up and you could switch to another carrier, but you're not sure, you can go to Best Buy Mobile and compare all of the phones from Verizon and AT&T together without having to go around to a bunch of different stores. So thank you Best Buy Mobile for being so awesome. Thank you guys for listening to that and for watching this video. I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com. Let's go check out the HTC Freestyle. So here's the HTC Freestyle, or the box at least, and as you can see it's a pretty simple box, so we'll just go ahead and open it up and get started. So first you have a quick start guide and other paperwork. Looks like you also get a user CD, which could come in handy. Usually there's some software for downloading your music onto the phone, which can come in handy. And then stuff on GPS navigation. So here's the phone itself, and see if I can get it out. It's kind of stuck in there. Okay, so here's the phone, and you know, it looks really nice. Of course, made by HTC, so their phones always look pretty good. It is made out of plastic. It looks sort of like aluminum, and I know a lot of HTC phones have that solid aluminum build, but this is actually plastic, but it still looks pretty good. And then you have your display here is a 3.2-inch display. So let's see what else is in the box, and then we'll turn on the phone. See, safety and regulatory guide, warranty. Then you have the charger. It's actually in this typical HTC cornstarch packaging. It's not plastic, so it's earth-friendly. Modular charger and the USB cable. It looks like it's going to be micro USB. At least I hope it is. But we'll check just to make sure. If it's proprietary, then it can sometimes be a hassle. But yeah, it's micro USB. And then you have the battery. So we'll take a look at the battery. It is 1300 milliamp hour battery. So that should be good enough. You know, for a smartphone, it may seem kind of small, but for a feature phone, that really should be big enough. So, but I'll test it out and see. I believe to take or put the battery in, that was my computer telling me what time it was. Thank you, computer. Let's see. I know there's some sort of weird way to put the battery in. If I can figure it out. Oh, there we go. So we do that. And then the battery goes in here, like that. But I do need to put the SIM card in first. So let me put the SIM card in first, and then we'll power it up. Okay, so the SIM card is in, and we'll power it on and take off the sticky cover. So you see HTC. So the cool thing about this phone, as I was saying in the introduction, is that it's a feature phone, so it has, you know, the same features of a feature phone. However, it looks sort of like a smartphone because it's made by HTC and it's running HTC Sense UI, user interface. So all those things like the clock, you know, certain designs with the icon and the menu, those come from HTC Sense UI. So it looks similar to all of their Android devices, but it's not a smartphone, it's just a feature phone. And then of course, you know, just the physical build makes it look really nice too. Now, again, like I said, it's a feature phone. It's running the Brew mobile platform, which we don't see very often. So I'm kind of anxious to see exactly, you know, how well it performs, but just letting you know it is Brew. And then we'll go to next. Using the keyboard, I think I can figure that out. Automatically sync data. And I agree. So it looks like you can also set up your social networks like Facebook and Twitter. So let me set that up, and then we'll take a look at the home screen. Okay, so I have logged into Twitter, and it is loading my home page. You notice there was also the option to sync data, and the data that it's talking about, along with certain updates, is also weather. And so another one of the cool features you get with this is the HTC weather widgets and certain like friend stream widgets. So we'll have to see how that looks. But it is pretty cool that you have, all those options to make it, look sort of like a smartphone, not quite as boring as other feature phones can be. So here we have the home screen, pinch to zoom to thumbnail view. Nice little tip. Okay, so here's the home screen. There you see the clock, and it should sync the weather here pretty quickly, and then you'll see the weather info down here. 3 shortcuts for people, messages, and menu. Then you have some shortcuts here which you can add for certain apps or contacts. And then pictures. This is where the weather data would be. For some reason it thinks I'm in Atlanta, probably because my SIM card. Oh, and then here's where you can have shortcuts to certain contacts. Messages, I believe this is text messages, and then friend stream, which would be whenever you log into Twitter and Facebook, it would all bring it to that widget. So as you can see, it looks pretty good. This is a 3.2-inch capacitive touchscreen. It has a resolution of 320 by 480, so still, pretty basic and pretty standard, but as you can see, it's very clear, it's very bright, it looks just very clear. I want to say shiny, but that's mostly just because it's brand new out of the box, but it does look very good. The display looks beautiful for a feature phone, compared to other feature phones, it looks pretty good. And then as you can see, it's pretty smooth. I'm not experiencing a whole lot of lag. It has a 528 megahertz Qualcomm processor. We don't usually mention the processor in feature phones because it's typically not something to brag about, which is why, feature phones generally can be kind of laggy. But at 528 may seem like, oh, that's like a cheap smartphone, but for a feature phone, 528 megahertz is definitely something to brag about. So as you can see, it's doing a pretty good job with keeping up, and then it looks like we got some weather, so pretty nice weather widget. It doesn't have a physical keyboard, it's a virtual keyboard only. So let's go over to messages, and we'll take a look at the keyboard. Tab to add text. And there's a keyboard. So, I used this a little bit whenever I was logging into my Twitter account, and it is kind of small, a 3.2-inch display. The keyboard is pretty small, but you can, of course, use it in landscape mode, I'm assuming. Maybe not. There we go. There's a button for it. So that'll switch it. So, and then it's a lot bigger, but type a quick message and see how well it does. Over the lazy dog. And he has sort of this autocorrect feature there, which is nice. So that's not bad. I had one mistake there with lazy. There was haptic feedback. Again, like I said, a capacitive touchscreen, so that's going to help. It's going to make it a little better. This is just a first look, and then I'll come back and do a review. But overall, seems like a great feature phone. Like I said, it is made out of plastic, but it feels, pretty sturdy, and it looks great. Even if it is just plastic, it still looks pretty good. And then the processor and the display seem to be top-notch. So, first look at the HTC Freestyle. It's $100 right now from AT&T, so kind of pricey, but if you're wondering why would I get this when I can get a smartphone for free, well, first of all, chances are the free smartphone sucks, and also with this you don't have to have a data plan if you don't want one, so some advantage there, and maybe you just don't want a smartphone. So I will come back in a couple of days with a review of the HTC Freestyle, and we'll also get some dogfights done. This is a top-notch popular phone, so I'll do some dogfights, see which one is better from AT&T and other carriers. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com. You can follow me on Twitter. My screen name is It's My Job to Know. If you have any questions, you can just send me a message, and I'll try my best to answer it as soon as possible. But that's pretty much it. I'm Sydney. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll see you guys later.